The courtroom was filled with a heavy silence, broken only by the soft tapping of a gavel. As the judge took their seat, the air seemed to thrum with tension. The audience, made up of curious onlookers and anxious family members, held their breath in anticipation. Today's case was no ordinary trial. It had captured the community's attention for months. The stakes felt especially high due to the serious nature of the charges and the potential consequences at hand. Rows of faces reflected a mix of hope and despair, each person wondering how this day would unfold. The defendant sat nervously at the front, glancing around as if searching for reassurance from familiar faces in the crowd. Across the aisle, the prosecutor prepared to make their case with an air of confidence that suggested they believed justice was on their side. A single beam of sunlight streamed through a high window, illuminating dust particles dancing in the air, almost like fate itself hovering just above. Everyone knew that today could change lives forever. As voices lowered to whispers and eyes turned toward the judge, it became clear. This decision would not only determine one person's future, but also ripple through the lives of many. The weight of responsibility hung palpably in that small room, building anticipation for what would come next. The judge, a tall figure known for their imposing presence, entered the courtroom with a steady gait. With years of experience under their belt, they had seen it all, from minor disputes to serious criminal cases that could shake a community to its core. This particular judge was well respected, famed for their fairness and keen understanding of human nature. It was said that they could read a room in an instant, sensing the tension between opposing sides with just a glance. As they settled into their chair, the judge briefly adjusted their glasses, revealing sharp eyes that seemed to pierce through the very heart of the matter at hand. Their reputation for making tough but fair decisions preceded them, and many wondered what approach they would take today. Known for occasionally wielding unorthodox methods, the judge believed in allowing fate to play a role in justice when necessary. With a calm demeanor, they addressed the courtroom, reminding everyone of the gravity of the situation. There was something unique about this judge. They understood that sometimes the law didn't provide all the answers, and instincts could guide one just as well. On this day, as they prepared to make a pivotal choice, anticipation pulsed through the room like electricity. People were eager to see how this experienced judge would navigate such an important moment. Today's case centered around a serious charge of theft that had sent shockwaves through the community. The defendant, a young man in his 20s named Alex, stood at the front with a mixture of fear and determination etched on his face. Accused of stealing valuable items from a local store, he maintained his innocence, claiming he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. His family sat behind him, their expressions a blend of hope and worry, praying for a fair outcome. On the opposite side was the prosecutor, Ms. Reynolds, known for her fierce dedication to justice. She had built a strong case against Alex, presenting evidence that included witness testimonies and surveillance footage. Her confident demeanor suggested she believed the evidence would lead to a conviction. But there was more than just legal arguments at play. Emotions ran high as this case stirred up deep-rooted feelings within the community. The stakes were incredibly high. A guilty verdict could lead to significant jail time for Alex, drastically altering his life and impacting those who cared for him. The courtroom buzzed with whispers about what would happen if he was found guilty or acquitted. As both sides prepared to present their arguments, the tension continued to escalate, setting the stage for an unforgettable day in court. As the tension in the courtroom reached a boiling point, the judge raised a hand, signaling for silence. In a surprising twist, they pulled out a shiny silver dollar from their pocket, holding it up for everyone to see. The glint of the coin caught the light, momentarily distracting onlookers from the gravity of the case. The judge took a moment to explain their unconventional decision to use the coin flip as a tiebreaker, if necessary. "I know this may seem unusual," the judge began, their voice steady yet thoughtful. "But sometimes, when evidence feels equally compelling on both sides, fate can offer clarity." There was a murmur among the spectators. Some frowned while others nodded in understanding. It was clear that this judge believed in allowing chance to play a role in guiding justice. The anticipation in the room heightened as they laid out the rules, Heads would favor Alex's innocence while tails would suggest that guilt was more probable. In this moment, it became evident how much weight rested on such a simple act of flipping a coin. Would luck decide a man's future? The idea itself felt surreal but strangely fitting in a case where emotions ran deep and opinions varied widely. As the judge prepared to flip the coin, everyone held their breath, knowing that justice was about to hang in the balance. As the judge held the silver dollar aloft, a wave of murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Confusion painted the faces of many onlookers, who exchanged bewildered glances, unsure of how to react to such an unprecedented move. Some leaned forward in their seats, eyes wide with curiosity, while others shook their heads in disbelief, unable to comprehend how a simple coin flip could be involved in such a serious matter. The tension shifted from pure anticipation to a mix of skepticism and intrigue. A few spectators whispered among themselves, questioning whether this was truly how justice should be determined. "Isn't this just a gamble?" one man muttered quietly to his neighbor. Meanwhile, a young woman clasped her hands tightly, hoping for the best but fearing the worst outcome for Alex. Despite the doubts swirling in the minds of many, there were also those who found a strange sort of hope in the judge's decision. The notion that fate could influence such a significant verdict resonated with some. It felt like a symbol of chance, fairness, and unpredictability. With hearts racing and breaths held, everyone focused on the judge and the gleaming silver dollar, recognizing that this moment would echo far beyond the courtroom's walls. The air was thick with anticipation as they awaited what would happen next. As the silver dollar glimmered in the judge's hand, the concept of chance took center stage in the courtroom. This unconventional method of decision-making stirred deep discussions about the nature of justice and fairness. Could a single flip of a coin truly represent the complexities of a person's life? Many spectators pondered whether relying on chance was appropriate for determining such a serious matter as Alex's fate. In this moment, the courtroom became a microcosm of the broader themes in society. Was justice always fair, or was it often influenced by randomness and circumstance? Some spectators felt that while evidence and legal arguments were crucial, they could never tell the complete story. Life was unpredictable, and sometimes the truth could be slippery, much like fate itself. The idea that luck could play a role in deciding innocence or guilt presented an unsettling paradox. For some, this method symbolized hope, an opportunity for a fresh start or change in fortune. For others, however, it represented everything that was wrong with a system meant to uphold fairness. To leave such vital decisions to chance seemed both reckless and absurd. As emotions swirled through the crowd, the discussion shifted toward what justice truly meant. Was it absolute, or did it exist on a spectrum where fate wielded unexpected power? The air was thick with contemplation as everyone struggled to reconcile these conflicting ideas. As the crowd simmered with uncertainty, memories of past cases where luck had swayed outcomes began to surface. Some spectators recalled instances where seemingly random events had influenced the course of justice. For example, there was the case of a man wrongfully convicted due to a misidentified witness, only to be exonerated years later by a chance encounter with the real culprit. In that situation, luck played a double-edged sword, saving one life while ruining another. Others remembered tales of individuals who won their freedom via unexpected acts of kindness, like a juror who changed their mind after receiving a heartfelt letter from the defendant's family. Such narratives resonated deeply within the courtroom, illustrating how unpredictable fate could alter lives in ways the law could not foresee. These stories highlighted the often blurred lines between justice and chance, emphasizing that sometimes decisions hinge on factors beyond anyone's control. The audience reflected on how, in many cases, justice is not just about right or wrong but intertwined with the whims of fate. As the judge prepared to flip the coin, those present couldn't help but feel a mix of dread and anticipation. Would Alex's future be decided by an act of chance? The echoes of past cases loomed large in their minds, reminding them that life's unpredictability could shape even the most serious legal outcomes. The moment had arrived. The judge, with steady hands, positioned the silver dollar between their fingers. The atmosphere in the courtroom thickened as everyone leaned forward, eyes glued to the coin that held so much weight. A hush fell over the room, punctuated only by the rhythmic beating of hearts and the soft rustle of anxious whispers. On the count of 3, the judge announced, their voice cutting through the tension like a knife. 1, 2. The pause felt eternal, with every second stretching out further as a mixture of hope and fear rippled through those present. Alex's family gripped each other's hands tightly, their faces etched with worry. They could hardly bear to watch what was about to take place. 3. With that word, the judge flicked the coin into the air, sending it spiraling upwards, glinting in the light as it danced above them. Time seemed to stand still as everyone watched the coin soar. Was it fate or chance that would determine its fall? As it spun, conversations faded into silence, and all eyes were transfixed on its trajectory. Would it land heads or tails? The outcome felt monumental, not just for Alex but for everyone who had invested their emotions into this trial. The coin reached its peak and began descending. Anticipation crackled in the air like electricity as justice hung delicately in balance. As the silver dollar reached its peak, a sudden gust of wind swept through the open window, catching everyone off guard. The coin began to wobble mid-air, and just as it seemed poised to fall, it slipped from view, vanishing behind the judge's bench. Gasps filled the courtroom, followed by a profound silence that thickened the air. The unexpected twist left everyone in a state of disbelief. How could a moment meant to bring clarity now result in confusion? Spectators exchanged bewildered glances, their hearts racing with uncertainty. Was this a sign? A cruel joke? Alex's family clutched each other tighter, their faces pale as they tried to comprehend what had just happened. Meanwhile, the judge stood frozen for a moment, processing the bizarre turn of events. It was supposed to be a straightforward decision, one that would either clear Alex or condemn him. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as people began to question what this meant for justice. Would the case be postponed? Could they even proceed without knowing the outcome of the coin flip? The air was thick with anxiety and anticipation as everyone awaited the judge's response. In this unpredictable moment, the balance of fate felt more precarious than ever. The coin that was meant to symbolize chance and resolution had instead become a source of uncertainty, leaving everyone wondering what would come next in this extraordinary trial. As the courtroom remained in stunned silence, the implications of the coin's disappearance hung heavily in the air. This moment of uncertainty raised profound questions about justice and its foundations. When decisions are left to chance, what does it mean for the individuals involved? Alex stood at the center of this precarious situation, his future dangling in limbo. For him, the lack of resolution was not just a delay. It was a deepening torment that compounded his anxiety. The spectators felt it too, a mix of hope and despair as they considered how unpredictability could decide someone's fate. Many wondered if true justice could ever be served when outcomes hinged on such arbitrary factors. The judge, known for their wisdom, now faced an unsettling dilemma: how to restore order and clarity after fate had played a cruel trick. Alex's family wrestled with their emotions, their dreams for his future hanging by a thread. They felt the weight of shared uncertainty. Their hopes were intertwined with Alex's innocence. Likewise, Ms. Reynolds, driven by a desire for justice, grappled with her own doubts about whether this case would ultimately reflect fairness. In this charged atmosphere, everyone began to reflect on what justice truly meant. Was it absolute and unwavering, or did it exist within a framework where chance could alter lives in an instant? The haunting question lingered: how would they navigate this unexpected turn and find a path towards resolution? As the courtroom buzzed with uncertainty, a profound question lingered in the air. What does it mean when justice hangs in the balance? The story of Alex and the silver dollar served as a powerful reminder of life's unpredictability. In moments when decisions are left to chance, the very foundations of fairness and justice can feel fragile. The gust of wind that whisked away the coin became a metaphor for how easily circumstances can change, leaving lives hanging in uncertainty. Spectators began to realize that justice is not always clear-cut. It can be influenced by forces beyond our control, complicating our understanding of right and wrong. People walked away from the courtroom that day with heavy hearts, contemplating whether true equity exists or if it is merely an illusion shaped by fate's whims. Alex's fate mirrored countless others where a twist of luck decided life-altering outcomes. How much do we trust in systems designed to protect us when luck seems equally influential? In reflecting upon this trial, one could not help but wonder, is justice something we earn through hard work and integrity, or is it a game governed by chance? As fate continues to weave through our lives, perhaps the greatest challenge lies not in seeking absolute certainty, but in embracing life's inherent unpredictability and striving for fairness amidst chaos.